Hi and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be using these herb pots to make some really rustic bells to put with my Christmas decor. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is taking the silicone mold and I'm going to be filling it with hot glue. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'll be using this for trim around the tops of my bells. Once I have those filled, I'm just going to set them aside so they can cool down. And then as you can see, this is embossed on here. So my solution to that is going to be to make a textured paint. That way you won't be able to see the letters, the indentation of them or anything. You won't even know that they're on there by the time the bells are finished. So the first thing I'm going to do is mix up some black paint. And the reason I'm using black is because a lot of my decor is black and white, and then I do have a little bit of gold, silver, and copper mixed in. And now I'm going to be mixing in baking soda, and this is what is going to give my paint the texture. Now I do want to mix this in really well, and this mixture is only going to be for my base coat on my pots. And if you make this, you want to make it thick enough so it doesn't run, but not so thick that you have huge clumps all over your pot. I'm starting by covering the lettering first and getting it filled in. And then once I do that, I'm going to paint around the entire pot in one direction because I just want like the textured lines and I want them vertical on my pots. And I'm doing the same thing with the other one. So while those were drying, I found this piece of just a cardboard that came out of, I'm not sure if it came out of foil, it's really thick. It might have come out of maybe some saran wrap. And I'm just using my hacksaw to cut a couple of rings. And the reason that I'm cutting these is because these will go on top of some metal lids, and this will be the top of my bell. And I'm just giving them a quick sand. And then now, as you can see, my molds they're cooled down, and this makes just a really pretty trim. And I did end up having to make 4 of these in order to have enough to go around my pots. Once the pots were dry, I flipped them over so I could put my textured paint on what will be the top of the bells. And now these little lids, these came off of some spice jars, and I am filling them with hot glue. If you do this, please be careful because these are metal and the hot glue will make them extremely hot. But the reason I'm doing this is so I have a solid surface because I will be gluing them later to the tops of my bells. And now I'm just taking 3 paints. I'm using a black, a hazelnut, and a gold. And I am just putting them out on this lid that I'm using for my paint. And what I'll be doing is I will be dipping into each color, all 3, and kind of tapping it on that lid. And then that's what I'm going to use to paint my little rings with to give them sort of a metal antiqued finish. And I'm starting with the inside first and then moving my way to the outside of the rings. After both of those have painted, I'm going back in with just some black paint. It's not textured, there's nothing in it, and I am giving a quick coat to my pots. Now you can do these in any color that you want. You don't have to do black. You can make them whatever color your Christmas decor is. Now I'm going in with the same painting technique with the black, the brown, and the gold and painting the lids so they look like metal. And here I'm just putting hot glue down my hot glued trim so I can attach it to the tops of my bells. And here I'm just trimming it to the length that I need. Once I have my trim on, I'm going to be painting it black as well. Now this time I used a soft brush and I only had to do one coat on this hot glue trim. It covered so well. Once I have those painted and they're dry, I will be gluing on my little metal caps that I painted. And this is why I put the hot glue inside. As you can see, this gives me that nice surface to be able to glue it to the top of my bell. And once that is glued on, then I'll be using one of my cardboard rings that I made, and I'll be gluing it to the top of the bell as well. Now once everything is good and dry, I'm using a stipple brush or a stencil brush, and I am just taking baking soda and brushing it all over my bell. And once I do this, then I'll just be blowing the excess off, and this is going to give us a nice aged patina. And here are the final bells. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed day and Merry Christmas.